Okay, good morning and welcome to today's class. Yesterday, we started looking at reward and performance management. We started from there yesterday, and we are going to continue in that discussion today. We started by talking about, we describe what performance is. We're able to look at what is performance. We talked about the importance of the course. We said performance, excuse me, management is a set of process and system that is aimed at developing or building employees so that they can do their job and perform best at work. And we said the goal is to help employees to build on skills that enable them to perform better in their roles, and they're able to reach their 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 peak on the job. So performance management process is strategic and systematic, and it has to be done, or it's something that should be done in an organization to help improve staff work and staff performance. You get just like the name implies, performance management. So we looked at that yesterday, having introduced the course. Then we talked about the importance of the process. Why do we need performance management and what is involved? We said in performance management, you establish clear expectations, set individual objective, provide ongoing feedback, and evaluate results. Okay, then we talked about the importance of performance. We talked about the importance of why is it important to have performance management? Why is it important to have performance management? We were able to look at that yesterday. Sorry, I'm just having a bit of challenge here, my system. Okay, so the objective of a reward system is attraction, so we were able to look at all of that yesterday. Then we looked at the types and components of reward systems. Okay, we said an organization's reward system comprises of several things. We said there are financial rewards, there are non-financial rewards. We have reward policies. Okay, and after reward policies, we also looked at psychological satisfaction. We looked at pay structures. Then we also looked at base pay. We defined base pay yesterday, and we said base pay is the minimum payment that anybody receives aside a worker receives or an employee receives aside any other incentive that may come. Okay, then we looked at job evaluation. Then we also talked about contingency pay, and we looked at different types of bonuses. And I think from there we proceeded to another topic. After we looked at total earnings. Yes, total earnings. And we said total earnings are usually calculated as the sum of base pay and additional payments. So when you get your base pay plus any other benefits that you may get, all of that adds to what is called total earnings. So let us look at reward system, designing a reward system. Okay, we said in designing a reward system, you consider extrinsic rewards and intrinsic reward. We looked at that. I'm just doing a quick review, okay, from which we went to issues in from which we look at issues to consider when designing reward system. Who are you rewarding is one thing to consider. What kind of reward? What to reward? Okay. Who do you want to reward? Who do you want to reward? Okay, your staff or employees, who do you want to reward? What kind of reward? What do you want to use at your reward? Is it intrinsic and extrinsic types of reward? Then what to reward? What are you rewarding for? Is it hard work? Is it labor? Is it whatever it is? Is it performance? What is that thing that you want to reward them for? These are things to consider when designing a reward system. So we looked at all of those things and what the types of reward. Then we talked about motivation yesterday. I would said motivation is a drive for somebody to do something and achieve a thing. And it comes from the word motive. So we talked about the three major theories that have come up over time, the three classical theories, that have evolved over time. And we reviewed that yesterday. And I would not want to go back to all of those things because we do not have enough time. So what we're going to be looking at today is the next topic after motivation. If you remember, we talked about the three classical theories in dealing with motivation after talking about the importance of motivation. That's Abraham Maslow's theory. We looked at that. Esbank two-factor theory. Then we looked at theory X and Y. Okay, so we're going to look at performance management. Performance management. So we said performance management is a set of processes and systems that is aimed at developing employees so they perform their job to the best of their ability. The goal is to help employees build on their skills. Yes, to help employees build on their skills and enable them to do what? Perform better. That is the essence of carrying out performance management. The goal is to help employees build on their skill and enable them carry out their roles better. Effective performance management establish a continuous conversation with managers, HR, and employees. So it's a continuous thing. Okay, the process involves establish clear expectations. What do you want to get? What do you want to see? What are you looking forward to? Set individual objectives. Okay, let them align with that of the organization and goals. Then provide ongoing feedback and evaluate the results that you get as you proceed. So these are the importance. These are one of the reasons, which is more like an appraiser, a performance appraiser. Establish your clear expectations, set individual objective and goals that align with the team, then provide ongoing feedback and let there be evaluation of results. We are going to look at why is performance management important? Why is performance management important? It's important because it gives future proof of your workforce skills, future proofing your workforce skills. Number two, increase employee engagement. You know that you want to perform, or it's all about effectiveness, outcome, output. And so you want to get how the workers are able to get that engagement, because when they know that the performance appraisal is being carried out, it enhances engagement of employees. Then higher employee retention rate. There are higher and better chances of keeping your employees when you carry out performance management or appraisals, because it helps you to see, know, and understand how to improve employee, then improve organizational performance generally. So let's look at the stages in carrying out performance management. First of all, there has to be a planning stage. You have to plan out, as you said, what you want to do and what are the things that you want to check for. So you're talking about planning. The planning. Then number two, you're talking about things like monitoring. When you plan, you have to monitor, develop, and of course, rating and reward. So in performance management, you have to be planning, there has to be monitoring, there has to be developing, and there has to be a rating and reward system. So performance management process, best practices helps to evaluate what is currently is and what isn't working. What is working? What is not working? We want to know. You want to choose, and based on that, you want to choose the right path. What is working? What is not working? How do you choose the right path? By a behavioral approach and result-oriented approach. Now, behavioral approach identified and evaluated. Behavioral approach identified and evaluated based on behaviors and effort. This approach is suitable for giving detailed feedback on behaviors by mapping desirable future behaviors and when the results can be gotten. So examples include individual players in a team, staff support, and HR roles. And HR professionals. So result-oriented approach, employees are evaluated based on objective criteria. The focus is not on input, but on output in terms of quality and quantity. This approach is important and is suitable when there are multiple ways to do job. Employees are evaluated based on objective criteria, and the focus is not on input, but on output in terms of quality and quantity. This approach is suitable when there are multiple ways to do the job. So in a result-oriented approach, your focus is, of course, the outcome. But in behavioral, you want to get that thing to become a culture. You want to get it to become a system. You want to get it to become a way of doing things, right? So consider what the role is when choosing the approach to ensure the effectiveness of performance management. Okay, so meet and greet management. Now, pay structure meaning. Let's quickly look at pay structure meaning. According to Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, about 60% of employers worldwide utilize pay structures to enhance companies' well-being. So a pay structure is an internal system. It's a collection of organized grade, bands, and levels of employee wages classified by their job types within the organization. A pay structure determines the amount individuals are to be paid based on their output, which is their seniority or levels, qualification, positions. Typically, pay structures like salary ranges are within pay grades. In other words, each pay grade has its own minimum and maximum amount of paid salaries. So what is the purpose of companies developing pay structure? Number one, to ensure fairness. Yes, it helps to build fairness and transparency. It helps to build fairness and transparency, add order and clarity to career development, facilitate the process of pay progression and reward system. Okay, so when you're putting systems and structure, you're trying to make sure that there's order. You're trying to make sure that there's equity, there's justice, there's fairness. So one of the advantages of developing a pay structure is that a clear pay structure is beneficial in cost control and planning. So you're able to control costs, you're able to plan effectively when you have that. Number two, salary range incorporated in pay structures can make future cost planning easier for managers. Yes, it can help planning much easier and much better because there's a structure, because there's a system to which that pay structure has been built. It helps to bring about fairness. But one of the disadvantages is that it brings a lot of pressures. Administrative officers need to attentively align employees' current job and grades with pay structures while closely monitoring pay structures with market to ensure that there's consistent fairness. In other words, human resource managers must make sure that with improvements in market structures and building and growth, there has to also be a corresponding improvement in salaries to be able to match them. So let's look at, we have what we call traditional pay structures, okay, which is based on the conventional layers and grades. Then we have broad pay structures. We have traditional pay structures. We have broad pay structures. Now, in broad pay structures, you consider it in a wider scale, which offers employers and employees a more flexible pay progression per discussion. Okay, it divides pay levels based on employee jobs and categories and titles. So this one is wider and it gives you more reason. Then we have market-based structure. Sometimes organizations rely on overall market average to determine their pay structures. Market-based structures rely on current market average of similar positions to determine employee salary. So they consider what is going on in that field and that area to be able to determine. Then we have step-by-step pay structures, which is, very simple pay structures to consider employees' time with the organization to determine their salaries. Step pay structures are common among government organizations and law enforcement systems. So step pay structures determine employee salary ranges and pay grades based on the accumulated time. Okay, so this pay is based on time. If you work X amount of time, you are paid based on that amount of time that you have worked. Okay, so then we have commission pay structure. I think yesterday we were able to look at something related to this, where we looked at it. We want to talk about commission and all of those things in terms of payment. So you have team-based pay structures. Okay, so which industry is most likely to use team-based structure? Various interdependent teams often work towards big IT projects in IT department. Thereby, team-based pay structures are beneficial as they enable employers to judge the entire team's performance. Okay, so more like a teamwork, and they are considered based on what they have been able to do so far as a team. So we have individual commission structures and team-based commission structures. So factors that influence internal payment structure. Number one, internal factors like performance, your experience, your potential, what you can do, organizational structure. Then we have external factors like laws and regulations, labor markets, economic factors, technological changes, law regulations. All of these things are different factors that play a good role and a great role in determining how rewards and compensation or how internal pay structures are developed. Okay, people love compensation a lot, especially when it comes to work environment. And the reason is because compensation is an approach that provides monetary value in exchange of work that are performed. So you have done extra time, extra pay comes to you. You have joined a journey, done an assignment, and based on that, you're expecting extra payment. How is compensation used? Compensation is a tool used by management for a variety of purposes. Okay, we've talked about that. It's used to recruiting and retaining. It's used to increase number of employees, to reward and encourage peak performance, to reduce turnover, and modify through negotiations practices within the organization, and system. Okay, so what are the components of a compensation system? This system utilizes many components, which includes job description, salary structures, and written procedures. Job description, job analysis, job evaluation, pay structures are all systems that are used, okay, to help improve on, to develop a payment system and structure. So what are the different types of compensation? Base pay, we talked about that yesterday. Commissions. What about overtime? Overtime is when you spend much more than the time you're supposed to spend at work. Then you get other benefits and rewards for staying longer at work. Then stock options, travel, meal, house, or allowance. And these benefits can also include things like dental benefits, medical benefits, leaves, retirement, and other forms of allowances. So compensation plans are good because you can develop a good program to help you effectively assign or implement a compensation plan. To develop a compensation program, designate to individual to see how a compensation program is going, then develop a compensation philosophy. Okay. Okay. So this is what we have looked at regarding compensation. All the remaining work, you can read it up on your own, but they are basic explanation of what we are discussing under compensation. And compensation plan, you have to develop a program outline, then designate an individual, okay, which can be permanent or or temporary, who's going to oversee that compensation program, taking documentation of staff, their work, their extra time, their leave hours, their medical, records, and all of those things. You get it. Then develop a compensation philosophy, okay, from a compensation committee, presumably consisting of officers, or at least including one officer of the company. So you develop a philosophy. What do we believe? What do we work on? Okay. The company may have a philosophy like, you know, we never get tired of putting in our best. Okay. We always push ourselves beyond to see that we deliver on our orders. All of these things are part of it. Then conduct a job analysis to one of the essence of job analysis is to understand fully what the job entails and what is required on the job. Then evaluate the job. Okay. Determine grade levels. Are there seniors, juniors, intermediate, and beginner? Beginner, those that are just starting the job, entry level, then intermediate, junior, and senior. Then determine the number of pay grades or monetary range of a position at a particular level. So you determine the grades, then establish the pricing or salary range. How do you want to pay at different stages or at different levels? Then determine an appropriate salary structure. Determine the difference between each salary, determine a minimum or maximum, slot the remaining jobs, review job description, then develop a salary administration policy to help oversee that system that has been put in place. And that is what we are looking at then, of course, monitoring. So this is what the course is on reward and compensation management, as we have been able to review what rewards are, what reward is, what different types of reward systems, the objective, how to develop a reward system. We looked at motivation. We looked at defining motivation, the three classical theories that helps understand motivation. Then we proceeded to talk about performance management, how to use appraisals to measure performance management and give rewards on each worker or each staff. Then we looked at compensation, different types of compensations that organizations can develop aside the base pay to improve effort, commitment, and work. Then lastly, we looked at the importance of this compensation and how to choose a compensation system. Okay, and that's all for the course reward and compensation. management. So I wish everyone of us all the best.